Welcome to episode 9 of the TV Autopsy, slicing its way through the series you love. My name is James.
My name is Deborah.
And I'm Megan.
Oh. Hello, girls.
Hello.
Hi.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. A few more days.
Yeah, not long. What is that? A week away? Are
Yeah.
you all ready?
Ish.
Vaguely. I'm still expecting some kind of sucker punch of a lockdown, so I'm kind of hedging my bets at the moment.
I don't know if anyone's going to care to lock down. They'll run the risk of being arrested.
Well, I don't care for a lockdown if I'm honest, but you try not to get my hopes up too much because, as you can probably see, I love a bit of Christmas.
Yes, it does look lovely.
Exploded in your house.
Beautiful.
I have to say, I mean, both of you, but Megan, I think you win the prize. You have made it look. It looks like you are in a decked-out TV studio. I have to say, with the Christmas tree just in the right place.
Yeah.
And
the stockings up on the mantelpiece.
I've got a couple of stockings and my little mantelpiece array. Listen, when I bought this house, I walked around it going, will it wear Christmas?
This is what I do. This is what I do with all houses, especially the curbside appeal.
Would you put the Christmas tree?
Wow.
Absolutely, I do the same.
Yeah.
Funny, isn't it?
Goodness, you little homemakers. Right, has anyone got any news?
News. I still have to tell you my news offline.
Yeah, well, we can't talk about that then, can we?
No.
Now, I have got news.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Bear with me. I've got several bits of news.
Oh.
Sorry, that if you could hear that was the dog shaking. One of them, anyway.
What? Is it like a Christmas hat?
No, I think she's just bored of me being on calls all day. So news. Right. So there's a little bit of house porn news here. The home edit is coming up for season 2. I've been eagerly trying to track down when it's actually going to land on Netflix, but I don't know yet.
I don't know this program. I should know this program.
Right, there's a season 1. It's organising. It's creating calm out of chaos with organising the shit out of things.
Oh, don't tell Deborah about this show.
And it's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix, the home edit. Go watch season 1 before season 2 lands.
Okay.
So just give us an example of what you're.
So they'll go to a home. Right. So I'm into
Stacey Solomon, is it?
No, it's not. But I do love Sort Out Your Life, and that has inspired me to sort out a lot of the random rubbish in the house. But the home edit, they made a business out of it. It's an American program. There's 2 women, and they've got teams now all over the US, and you basically can employ them to come and sort your house out. They love some containers with labeling. And every episode they'll do a family's house or a section of a house, like they do love a garage, a garage, but they'll also do a famous person's closet or house or whatever. They did Reese Witherspoon's walk-in wardrobe.
Oh, is that amazing?
Yeah, and they just it's quite nice because they sort of like have a bit of a chat, and then obviously the famous folk have got loads of reminiscing stuff. I want to say they did one of the Kardashians' garages.
Well, I'll be sure to be tuning in.
Maybe not your cup of tea.
He is so eager to watch.
Yes, but I've got more news, so let me carry on very quickly. So, George Clarkson's Ugly House to Lovely House, a bit more house porn, just finished a season. It's got another season, final season, season 8, I think. One more season to go, definitely doing it. And then he's hanging up his Ugly House to Lovely House. He's not doing any more of them.
Oh, I see.
Right.
More house porn. Selling Sunset season 4 has landed.
Oh, I've heard about this program.
Oh my, it's car crash TV and it's thoroughly worth it. There's lots of multi-million pound dollar houses on show, and just some of the worst human beings in retail, I think, in property retail, being deeply bitchy to each other. So it's definitely, I don't really do reality TV, but for some reason completely suckered into Selling Sunset. It's got houses as well.
And he said about houses, they seem to be sold.
Yeah.
And James, is there a reason why you're holding 3 pencils?
No, but I do this a lot these days.
Because you're just multitasking. You're doing so many things at once.
How many notes can you write at once?
I maybe this year, maybe the year before. I started the transition into pencils, and since then I only ever write with pencils. And because they break, because I'm so strong, I usually have 3 in my hand at one time, so I can just throw one down.
You've got Herculean handwriting.
I look a bit like Freddy Krueger with
like circular breathing for handwriting.
Absolutely.
Very nice.
Right, I'm carrying on I properly researched the news. No, I've got loads. The Witcher season 2 lands on Netflix tomorrow.
Yes, I've not seen season 1 yet.
Henry, what's his face? Oh,
Winkler.
No. Oh, Superman as was Henry Cavill. Anyway.
Yes. The one who was Superman.
Yes. Yep. Just like that has landed for any Sex and the City fans. It's
Never
not my bag.
No.
Okay, we can move on over that very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I saw that and it would just make me as angry as when I used to see the trailers for the original show, really. And it
seems to be sparking some strong feelings online.
It has. I've seen a lot of threads on it.
Oh right.
Did you guys ever watch the 70s show?
Yes.
No.
I've seen all of the 70s show.
Right. So that 70s show has got a spin-off coming called That 90s Show, and it's set 20 years in the future, obviously, and it's got Kurtwood Smith and Deborah Jo Rupp are reprising their roles of Red and Kitty 20 years later.
Well, nice. I wonder if the grandparents will be in it.
Don't know.
Oh, sorry. They are the grandparents. They were the parents, weren't they?
Do you know what?
Yes.
I've never religiously watched it.
So they were the parents, so they'll be the grandparents. That's great. And it kind of ties in, because I've been thinking for a while, at what point are we going to start seeing 90s kind of
well, it's coming
throwback shows, which makes us feel really old, I guess.
Yeah. And my final bit of news, and then I promise that's me done, but it's the last time I'll do any research for the next few episodes.
Oh, I'm impressed.
It is the
I'm unimpressed.
Thanks.
The 6th and final series of Peaky Blinders has just dropped some teasers. Your faces, shame on you. No fighting. No fighting.
Now, in fairness, I have watched. A friend of mine is a massive fan, and I watched the first episode, and it was. Oh,
you have to give it a little bit more than the first episode. I had to do the first episode a couple of times.
Right. Okay. Well, I might revisit that in January because it's a dry period. Okay. Well, I've got a little treat for you.
Yes.
As it's Christmas, I have got a little quiz for you.
Oh, we've got to open something, haven't we?
Oh yes, of course. Have you got your Christmas presents?
I've got to go and get it.
Okay, so
look at that wrapping.
You might need some kind of
and some scissors. Bring some scissors with you,
Deborah.
Deborah.
Get yours because you're going to open it at the same time, and I will wait for you.
Okay.
I might put some nice Christmas music on here.
You better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I am telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town.
Okay, I am pulling off the top. Oh my goodness. There appears to be a beautiful mug saying love on it with a lovely pride rainbow behind it.
There you go.
Love it.
I think our favourite, certainly one of our
top
scoring.
Yeah,
top scorer of the year. It's a sin.
I think we could go with favourite on that. That was epic.
A little mug. All right, so yes, I've got a little.
Thank you, James. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Merry Christmas. So there are 10 questions. I'm going to do the first 5 now, and we'll do the second 5 at the end.
Why? What are we doing?
Little quiz.
A quiz.
And all you have to do for this, if you know the answer, just shout out your name. All right?
Deborah.
And all I'm going to do is read out some popular TV theme tunes from the ages, and all you have to do is tell me the name of the theme tune, the name of the TV show. Okay, are you ready?
So you're going to read out the name.
I'm going to read out the lyrics of all mentioned TV theme tunes.
So not the tune. I'm going to be rubbish at this. I need the tune.
Yeah.
So, number 1. Making your way in the world today takes everything you've got.
Megan!
Yes.
Cheers.
Is the right answer.
Making your way in the world today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot.
Oh, well
Making
done.
your
I
way
never watched
in.
Cheers.
Yes.
You're both very competitive, but I just thought I'd mention. Okay, number 2. This is a tough one. It was over before it had begun. And often love can go that way. And I don't blame you for your point of view. You wanted freedom, I wanted you. And when you go away, you got to tell me where you've gone to. Because Eldorado's only gone in dreams.
Deborah?
Yes.
Eldorado?
It was over before it had begun, and often love can go that way.
Yeah, in fairness, that wasn't in the theme tune, but on the very final episode, they produced the song that was supposed to accompany the theme, and they played that on the end credits.
Is that like the
This is like
it could be
retrospective.
preempting a question here, the EastEnders version where suddenly
Anyone
anyone can fall in love.
Right, question 3.
Yes.
Come and listen to my story about a man named Jed. A poor mountaineer barely kept his family fed. And then one day he was shooting at some food, and up from the ground came a bubbling crude. Oil, that is.
Oh.
Black gold.
Deborah.
Yes.
That's not the Beverly Hillbillies.
It is the Beverly Hillbillies.
It's the Beverly Hillbillies.
Come and listen to my story about a man named Jed. A poor mountaineer barely kept his family fed. And then one day he was shooting at some food, and up through the ground come a bubbling crude.
Well done. Right, 2 more, and then we're going to get on with the show. Right. This is 29 Acacia Road.
Oh,
Deborah.
Banana Man!
This is 29 Acacia Road, and this is Eric, the schoolboy who leads an amazing double life. For when Eric eats a banana, an amazing transformation occurs. Eric is Banana Man, ever alert for the call to action.
Strangely enough, I was singing that to myself. I was getting ready this morning. All right, last one before the break. A long time ago, when men were all babes, there was a land of the free. Fantasy and dreams were its untouched wealth, and goodness and love were real. Each man desires to reach Gandhara, his very own utopia. In the striving, in the seeking soul, man can see Gandhara. In Gandhara, they said it was in India. Gandhara, the place on earth, Gandhara. No one recognises the end tune from Monkey.
Oh, I was pushing towards Monkey and then I was thrown by India. Oh.
Yeah.
Thrown by India. It's set in India.
Monkey?
Yeah.
Is it not more of a... Oh, I
Monkey
thought it was a bit more
magic.
of a Chinese.
Well,
Yeah, I thought it was Chinese.
Well, hold on a minute. I think, in fairness, it's a bit of a mixture. I'm reading.
Is it original Monkey or is it more recent?
No, that was it's the end theme, which I'm going to put all the themes on at the end here.
Okay.
Monkey Magic. That's
the opening theme. It's one of those rare TV shows.
Closing themes.
One of those rare TV shows that has two different themes.
Like Family Nest.
Yes, I was just about to say that. Right. Anyway, should we get on with the main show?
Yeah, and the raccoons.
All right, so Cutting Edge.
Gentlemen, we're about to enter the fascinating sphere of police work, the world of forensic medicine.
A series that we've been watching. All right.
Oh, God.
So
it has to be said. Come on. You've got to be with me. Get Back by Peter Jackson. The Beatles. The 3 installments that we've been waiting on for bloody ages.
Well, I didn't know we were waiting. Did you know, Megan?
I'm at a complete and utter loss.
What?
What are you talking about?
Okay, the Beatles. You know who the Beatles are?
I am aware of the pop group The Beatles.
Fabulous. And Peter Jackson has basically gotten together thousands upon thousands of hours of tape that recorded the sessions in a view back then in 1969 to make a documentary or a TV show that didn't actually happen. And so there are literally thousands of hours of the Fab Four getting together in Twickenham to begin with to come up with a number of songs to do on this TV show, stroke film, stroke documentary, stroke live show that they were planning to do. And they only
don't tell us any spoilers because I've only watched the first half an hour.
They only had 2 weeks to do it. So they started off in Twickenham and then they moved into their Apple studios in Savile Row. And what you get is this fantastic, amazing insight into what they're up to, how they're like, how they interact. I know so much about the Beatles anyway, and I love their music, and I always have done. But watching this, you learn so much more. And it was reported at the time that, at this particular point, the Beatles really hated one another. John and Paul didn't get on because Yoko was always there splitting the band up, or maybe was it Linda splitting the band up, or and George, I'm going to leave the band, and leaves the band for a couple of days. All this sort of stuff that the media kind of made out to be a big amplified thing. Actually, when you watch it, it's not true. The relationships, the dialogue, the way that they speak to one another, and the way that they start to come out with these songs. Paul McCartney just oozes tunes. He's just coming out with so many tunes, and he seems to be the kind of mastermind behind this, trying to push the band forward to get this stuff done. And there's this spine-tingling moment where you start to hear Get Back coming out of his guitar, and everyone's starts to jump on it, like Ringo and George jump on it, go, this sounds good, this sounds like it's going somewhere, and off it goes, and it starts to spin. And all these tunes that you know and love are being born in this documentary that's 3 hours long, 3 episodes long, 2 hours each, 2.5 hours each. So it's about 6.5 hours in total. It's an absolute joy. And then it ends with them playing on the roof. So the famous rooftop session where loads of folk running around London at the bottom going, who's that playing up there? And the police coming in saying, turn it down. So that was their last ever gig, live gig, public performance.
Where will we find this?
That's on Disney Plus.
Yeah, it's funny because I first heard about it from Deborah talking about it, and then I looked on Disney Plus and it's obviously there. But I would imagine something like that would have been plastered all over it, and it wasn't really.
But it has been. It's been absolutely everywhere.
Oh,
it's been on everywhere.
Obviously, where me and Megan
hang out. It's been on every Facebook page. It's been.
I keep
saying Facebook.
Don't do much of that.
But I see it everywhere. Threads, people talking about it all the time.
Well, this is all social media.
that's social media reinforcing what you see.
But not just on social media. I mean, you go out into the shops to go Christmas shopping, and Paul McCartney's books everywhere.
Shops?
Yeah.
Shops?
So going outside, social media. No.
Can't win either way, can I? It's if you're even the slightest bit interested.
I've started with
wonderful.
Very,
wonderful.
very, very good. It's good, worthwhile. Megan, how about you?
Oh, I don't really have anything major to report on Cutting Edge because I've basically been watching house porn and Christmas films.
All right, well, that's fair enough. I've just got something. I watched Landscapers, which was on Sky and Now TV, 4-part series, like mini-series, starring Olivia Colman. And she plays, it's based on a true story about a couple that basically murder, or did they? Definitely did a very good impression of Olivia. Murdering their the parents, but it's kind of it's so cleverly filmed. It's very like a stage play really in some parts. It kind of the fourth wall kind of gets broken in the way. They are like the police are interviewing them at one point, and they're such a strange couple anyway. And they live a lot in their heads, and she loves old movies. And then suddenly they kind of walk out of the set and across to the set that is that murder house basically. And the detective's going, show me exactly what you're saying happened. And it's only 4 parts, so easily digestible, gripping, brilliant performance.
Is it fully fictional or is it
no?
On...
It's based on true events. It says at the start that they still maintain their innocence, and you can decide for yourselves whether.
So that's called Landscaper.
Just Landscapers, and this isn't a spoiler, but just to let you know that the bodies were found in the garden. Buried in the garden, so
okay.
But definitely,
and that's on. And what channel is that on? Sorry,
that's on Sky or Now TV.
Sky or Now.
What?
So we've got some flatliners.
Yeah, we certainly do. Deborah, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a few rubbish ones that I've not proceeded with, but I will only give you one. Channel 4, Close to Me, starring Christopher Eccleston. 6 episodes. Could have been told in an hour.
Right, what's it about?
A bit dragged out. About Christopher Eccleston's wife falls down the stairs at home and bangs her head, and then she suffers from amnesia. Losing a year's worth of her life. Doesn't know what she thinks that she's come from the perfect life. She's very rich. They've got a nice house, and she's trying to piece together what's happened over the past year and how she came to fall down these stairs. It was, I watched it all, but it was nothing to write home about.
Okay, all right. And how about you, Megan?
No.
Okay, good stuff. I just got one, and I nearly chose it for us to review, but time kind of went away from us. But it's called Elves, and it's on Netflix, and it was a 6-part series, and I think it's based in Denmark. No, maybe
That's
Sweden.
on my list of what to watch.
Okay, well, look, it's
a flatliner.
Wait, watch it.
Don't bother.
But you see, it's about like real life wood elves.
They're a bit dodgy, aren't they? They're not the nice, fluffy fake toys for Christmas.
I think that what they tried to do is do a Gremlins thing with it. The problem, without giving anything away, is the protagonist is this like 15-year-old girl who basically they go on a holiday. They get an Airbnb to this remote island where everyone seems incredibly shocked that they've turned up because of the secret elf, plantation, whatever, fenced off area. Why anyone's Airbnb-ing it in the first place is beyond me. Then they kind of run one over, and then she ends up going back, even though she's told to stay away from this place, to pick up the elf. And then obviously trouble ensues when the elf gets taken by this girl. It's all completely her fault, and at no point does she redeem herself in any way. So it's quite irritating. However, well, enough of that. Let's
Lovely.
get on to the main event.
Main event
is the science fiction series that is Firefly. And before we go any further, I think we're going to play a clip.
No matter how long the arm of the Alliance might get, we'll just get ourselves a little further. Small crew, they must feel the need to be free, take jobs as they come.
She still has the advantage over us.
Everyone always does. That's what makes us special. Tell you, Zoe, we get a mechanic, get her up and running again, hire a good pilot, live like real people. You never have to be under the heel of nobody ever again.
You ever sailed in a Firefly?
No.
I mostly keep to myself, and I'm not whoring.
Deborah, have you got any facts for us?
I have quite a few. Considering I knew very little before, I know quite a bit now. Right, Firefly, 2002, Fox, Hulu. Joss Whedon wrote 14 episodes. Disney Plus, you can see it on now, and a couple of other places where you'd have to pay. Nathan Fillion is the star, Captain Mal he plays. He's in Modern Family, Santa Clarita Diet, Suicide Squad, Castle, A Series of Unfortunate Events, cartoon, Gravity Falls, the cartoon, which is a brilliant cartoon, by the way. He's in an episode of Lost, he's in Desperate Housewives. He's the villain, Caleb, in
Buffy.
And do you know that he auditioned for Angel? He auditioned for Angel previously.
I feel like I know him completely.
He didn't actually meet Joss Whedon at that point. Apparently, he's said to be the descendant of the Confederate Lieutenant General Jubal Early. And when he told Joss Whedon, he created the bounty hunter at the end to be known as Jubal Early. But the genealogical records actually realised that he wasn't actually related to him at all.
You're not going to go into this much detail about everyone in the cast, are you?
He is deaf in his left ear, by the way. Went deaf in 1977, so that was when he was about 6 years old. Gina Torres is the person that plays Zoe, his second mate, deputy captain, veteran war mate of Mal. She's been in Westworld, Riverdale, Suits, Hannibal. She was married to Lawrence Fishburne. She went to Harry and Meghan's wedding because she was in Suits, you see, with Meghan.
Suits, Meghan, yeah.
Then there's Alan Tudyk. That's correct. His name is Tudyk. He is called Wash, and he is the husband to Zoe. He is the pilot. I saw him recently in Resident Alien. He's in Rogue One, Star Wars, Arrested Development. He was also Sonny in iRobot. That robot in iRobot. Apparently, I've got a nice little bit of good sort of pop trivia here. When Wash wires up a large red button for the captain to press if he needs the crew to return, you know that episode in Out of Gas, episode 5, when he shows it to Mel, he says, "When your miracle gets here, just hit this button." Now, when the show was cancelled, he took that button as a keepsake. And when Whedon announced he was going to try and find some way to bring the show back, Alan Tudyk sent him the button with a note that said, "When your miracle gets here, just press this button." Anyway, next, Marina Baccaria, who plays Inara. She's the companion ambassador. She's kind of like a geisha, kind of courtesan hybrid. So she's in Gotham, she's in Deadpool, she's in Homeland where she bears her boobies. She's in V, she's in Stargate, she's in the OC. Adam Baldwin, who plays Jane, who is the ship's kind of thug, dim-witted character. He's in Angel as well, X-Files, Stargate, very distantly related to the Baldwin brothers, Alec, William, Daniel, Stephen. Jules State plays Kaylee. She's the ship's mechanic. She's in Stargate. Flash forward. She had to gain 20 pounds for Firefly, apparently. Obviously, she didn't have to do it for Serenity, the film, because she already had the role.
All right, come on. This is going on way too long.
Then there's Sean Mayer, who plays Dr. Simon Tam. He's in Party of Five, Arrow. He's an LGBT advocate, married to a man, adopted 2 kids, stayed at home to be a dad. Hasn't done much since. And then Summer Glau, who plays River, Simon's sister, Junior's kind of just kind of gifted, disturbed character. She's in Arrow. She's in Grey's Anatomy. She speculated that her character influenced Stephen Moffat's Doctor Who's character River Song, by the way. I thought that might be a quite good one. And then lastly, the 9th character aboard this cruise ship is Ron Glass, who plays Shepard, or is he a Shepard? Who's in The Streets of San Francisco, Teen Angel, He's in a couple of episodes of Friends and Rugrats, and he died in 2016.
Okay. Right, and when did it come out?
No, from multiple other places.
Yes.
I'm sorry, what was that, Megan? I lost you, so I'm just checking.
Oh, I think my connection's going to be...
No, it's all right, you're back. Go on, say that again.
Yeah, basically every character in it has gone on and been in multiple fairly mainstream TV.
Okay, and just I don't know if you said that, but it came out in 2002. All right, so yes. Megan, before we kind of say what we thought of it, why did you choose it, and what's the hook? What's it about in a nutshell?
So I chose it because it is one of my go back to and rewatch series, albeit being pushing 20 years old. The hook for me is it's Star Wars meets the Wild West with a nice little ragtag bunch of smugglers pootling around space in a crapped out spaceship.
Yeah,
basically.
I think as well, what's important to mention is, so it came out in 2002. At that time, sci-fi really was, I mean, we had Voyager on TV. We hadn't really seen anything. We obviously had Buffy, and I think Angel was going on about that time, but it was all very kind of clean cut sci-fi. So you had your ship with the captain that ran the tight ship, even in the face of adversity, like with Voyager. And this was a complete antidote. I'm just going to open by saying I really, really like this. It's been on my list to watch for ages, and I've never got round to it. And I soaked these episodes up, in so much as well that I rented the film Serenity, which kind of finished it off really nicely for me as well. But thank you very much. I thought it was amazing, and I'd like to talk a lot more about it. Deborah, what about you?
So I've got friends who are very cultish about Firefly. So I've heard of Firefly, but didn't really know much about it. And
hi, Sandra and Jason.
Oh, right, yeah. No, I didn't know that they were, but maybe they are. I don't know. Maybe they are. So anyway, look, I attempted to watch the first episode 3 times, the pilot, about an hour and a half long. I fell asleep. I kept trying to watch it, and I kept questioning everything rather than just going with it. I questioned the acting, like immediately. It's like, what is this? This is wooden. This is crap. What is this genre? What is this set? What are these characters? The length of the pilot, the Artful Dodger character, stereotyping him. I'm Badger. Trying to understand what the heck was going on. I felt like the quality was like the A-Team or Knight Rider of the 80s, kind of suitable-ish for families, bit crap, a bit naff. But then,
I'm biting my tongue here. I'm just waiting.
As each episode, my cat's now in the way.
Cat bum.
Cat bum. As each episode progressed, I couldn't help myself.
Yes.
Falling totally in love with the characters, the humour, the silly stories, the morality tales. I loved all the characters, except for River. I didn't particularly bond to River, but that's fine. I don't think we're meant to. I thought Jane was probably the weakest link, but he was fine. But what a romp. I mean, the humour, the girl strong stuff, the fun. Yeah, I loved it. Yeah. I'm mourning it now. I'm definitely mourning.
Aren't you gutted that they only ever got to make 1 season?
Yeah, I'm gutted.
Can I just say, Megan, when we started watching this, and we were all a bit late to the party, I think, of me and Deborah getting on with watching it.
Yeah.
You said something that really stuck in my mind for that since you messaged it, and it was like, once you get through that chewy first episode, and I think you're absolutely right. Megan, tell me what your take on it and why you like it so much, and why you think that episode is so chewy, because it really, that defines it really well.
Do you know, it's really difficult to really pinpoint why I liked it the first time I watched it. And now when I watch it, it's just, I can just chip in at any part in any episode, and I know exactly what's happened and what's going to happen, and it's just really nice and familiar. But I think at the time, could be wrong, and maybe I just wasn't watching stuff like it, but it felt a bit different. I mean, considering it was 20 years ago, and it's Joss Whedon now has some very problematic stances on a lot of things. But if you just watch the program, and it feels like it's really tried to I mean, it's set 500 years in the future. Let's just sort of like position it from that perspective.
Yeah.
And there's multiple worlds. There's they travel. They're essentially smugglers traveling from one place to another, and they've just got this. It's got the premise where you could absolutely have any sort of any sort of environment that they're going into, but it's essentially all human based. There's no real aliens anywhere. It's all human colonization of other worlds, and
each colony, let's be honest, is basically the Wild West. I mean, it's not like you're going into an area of different. It's the way the sci-fi works. It's not like a different world every time, like in Star Wars. It's basically everyone's in the same boat on this outer rim.
They can all breathe. There's never any
gravity
issues. Environmental issues from that front. They don't have to wear space unless they're actually repairing the ship in space. You don't have to worry about all of that.
And I think the backdrop is actually, it's not the star of the show at all. The star of the show are the characters. I think Joss Whedon said that apart from technology evolving, 500 years into the future, everything else remains the same. The moral side of things, the political, the ethical issues, all exactly the same as it would be today. And that's what we're buying into, right? The characters and the issues, rather than they've got a special button that can do this.
I have to say, I absolutely love some of the humour and where they insult each other in Chinese.
And I think that's really clever. I think they did that.
It's Chinese,
So any kind of sexual reference, any kind of swearing, cursing, the clever use of Chinese meant that the producers could keep airing it on us. I think they were hoping that they were going to air it at family time, but they put it on a really late night Friday slot that was really doomed because they'd already cancelled 14 previous shows or something, the network.
The insults themselves, they're not dirty words in Chinese. They're like, oh, you big baboon.
Right, but the context
but
is
in Chinese, and part of the premise of that was, if you look at when it was made 20 years ago, the rise of China coming out really as the next superpower, and recognizing that if you're then slingshotting the human race across the universe, then Chinese is going to be a major feature. I mean,
and that's what the alliance was, right? That's what the alliance was. The superpowers that were the US and China coming together to form this a central kind of federal government, the alliance.
I imagine so. And I mean,
and also Gorham, using Gorham instead of goddamn.
Yeah,
Gorham. So the blaspheming,
and rutting instead of fucking.
And shiny instead of cool. So the evolution of language. Yeah.
Just remember the context as well. This was very soon after the X-Files had kind of wrapped up, I guess. And all that kind of government spy stuff is quite central and all that stuff. But what I did like as well is we got introduced to probably the series going to be the big bad. You had the Alliance, which is the sinister government, but also we had the Reavers, which are we had a whole episode where we basically just saw what they've done.
Yes, we did see them.
The effect on those people, on that person that were so bad drove him mad. I thought that was such a clever touch. And you would have been hanging on the edge of your seat to see,
right?
And
this is why horror movies work so well until they then reveal the thing. Yeah. And it's the same with real life. There's a prowler on the street. Oh my God, it's on my street. There's a prowler on the street, and then because it's the fear of the unknown, it's the fear of that's what's so effective, because we let our imaginations run away with us.
Can I just talk a little bit about the characters? I have to disagree with you, Deborah, because I thought that Jane I thought he was brilliant. And the episode where they went to a town.
When they were celebrating
Jane Town. Yes, that is one of the best episodes.
So
I was
funny.
I always look forward to that episode. I'm like, oh, it's Jane Town episode.
It really was funny, and I did love it. And I just thought all of his kind of put downs and character development, I loved it. I had to
say, I laughed out loud when in the last episode when the bounty hunter comes on the ship and there's all this noise going on and you think that everyone's getting out of bed and doing things, and Jane pulls down the sheet off the wall to reveal all these guns as if he's going to, there's something going on out there, it's going to mean business, and instead he just wraps himself up in it to carry on sleeping. It's very funny. But I think what I'm saying about Jane being the weakest link, I think just in terms of character, this is all very character driven, right? This is so easy, the plot lines, the stories could be easily forgotten, just like as if you were watching a soap opera like Corrie. You know, all these are millions of events that have happened over years and years and years or over time are then forgotten about because we're just interested in the character. You know, Jane has betrayed the whole lot of them. Wow. Right? And it's forgotten about. So it's that kind of thing.
But it's not forgotten about. It's not forgotten about. There's a couple of Mal alludes to it in a couple, like just ever so subtly, and puts Jane in his place. I think it's in the last episode, puts Jane in his place as a result. So, and you kind of think there's so much of these layers that had it run for a second, third, whatever season, those things would have come out. Like your view on River. I mean, I would probably say, and I didn't have time to rewatch Serenity the film. But so basically, there was it gained cult viewing status pretty quickly. There was a massive, one of the biggest ever fan protests when it got taken off the air. Yeah, and so the studio that had made it allowed Whedon to make the film to kind of try and address and wrap up some of that stuff. And
it's meant to be darker, right? It's meant to be much darker.
It really does, and it follows. You get to follow River's story properly,
right? Yeah, because there's a lot of stories to be told. You could tell,
and you get to experience the Reavers. It wraps it up brilliantly.
Yeah,
everything.
It's almost disappointing because it's just a film and it's not another season, and you don't have that opportunity to build and build and build and build.
Yeah.
Which I think it would always have had because of the premise. You know, you can always go to another world. You can always find another adventure.
There's endless stories. There's always characters to meet. But this is why it is cult status, right? Because usually things don't become proper cult status unless, you know, if something is unresolved. You know, because it was never resolved. I mean, does it mention in Serenity about whether the shepherd is really a shepherd? Because I thought that was interesting.
So without giving
no spoilers. I don't think you should spoil on that one.
Without giving any spoilers away, you get a resolution on more or less everything that's going on, really.
Fine.
So I found it a very satisfying film and a very well-made film as well. River, I quite liked her performance. Was River the kind of crazy Artful Dodger lady in that Victorian thing we watched by Joss Whedon?
No.
In the Nevers?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, no, because she'd be like 45 and
she'd have been,
Yeah, no worries. All right.
I have to say, there was something very interesting about the reason why it got cancelled, and it wasn't to do with ratings. So
what was it?
This is what I read today. So there was a bit of creative differences between Joss Whedon and the network directors. The episodes were accidentally aired out of order. So it started with episode 2. And the pilot was then played last. So that confused a lot of people.
Of course it did.
And of course, it's things like the relationship that Wash and Zoe have, which Joss wanted to maintain as a very perfectly healthy marriage, but the network directors were saying, "Oh, we need a bit more drama, write in a bit more this or that." So that's kind of why it fell apart. That they were airing the episodes out of order. The network was just saying, "Oh, you know, we need more." But Joss said, "I don't want to stay."
I did find that couple a bit boring, but to be honest, you know, when you've got somebody like
you found Zoe and Wash boring, did you say?
I found that relationship boring, those two characters personally. But I found the companion. What's her name?
Inara.
I mean, that whole thing was fascinating. I mean, I remember watching her in V for the first time and thinking, because she played in the remake of V, which was very short-lived, she played the leader of the aliens, really, and she had that real alien quality to her. I thought, wow, they've really chose well. But I've seen everything I've seen her in. I mean, she's beautiful.
She is stunning, isn't she?
But such a good performance, and you're so interested in whether the morality is right, what the procedure is, what they do, and I just loved all of that, and their kind of will they, won't they thing. And I think if you've got that going on,
romance,
already, you don't
keeping
need
it strictly
another
professional
relationship that's having problems, do you? Really?
Yeah. No, I don't think the marriage was boring at all. I thought it was quite fun, the pair of them, and the way that Christina Hendricks tries to come on to Wash, and he's like, no, I'm perfectly happy where I am. But yeah, the romantic kind of chemistry that could have happened between Mal and Inara was
they were just
really
teeing
nice.
it up, weren't they, really, to sort of like take it to the next iteration.
They kept it professional.
Yeah. And just talking about the effects and stuff, the effects do look dated. In fairness, it's 20 years, but maybe a little bit more.
But I think at the time they thought it was good, didn't they?
Well, I'm comparing it with something like Voyager, Megan's on the Move.
Sorry, I need to fill up my wine glass.
Comparing it to something like Voyager, I do think the effects are a bit hokey. What I did think they did well, though, was I don't think at that point we had seen like a spaceship that was like on its last legs, run down, looked a bit grotty. And I know that Doctor Who, when that came back in 2005, they used that kind of
Millennium Falcon.
I was going to say Star Wars,
right? Yes.
Films.
But maybe I'm talking about series, really. And so, like, when they brought Doctor Who back, suddenly the alien worlds were just like patched together with bits of polystyrene and tape and stuff, and they weren't made to look white, sparkly, clean sci-fi sets, really.
Yeah,
and I think that was a good technique.
Well, I think there was a thing where Firefly was intended to be the 10th character.
Yeah, and it alluded to that with River being I mean, that's my set piece is Firefly itself. Effect rather. Is it effect or set piece? I can't remember which.
Well, should we talk about that? So I'll be fine. So the effect of the series. So you think that the ship Firefly?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's
Okay. For me, I really liked the episode with the Alliance, and especially when we saw, and this reminded me a little bit of Fringe. I know you're a fan of that, Deborah.
Yes.
But with the two kind of government men, basically, and they got a little stick out, and it started making a sound, and suddenly people started bleeding for their eyes and their ears and stuff like that.
That hospital scene, that was my effect of the series. I would love whichever one's which, because I can never remember which one's the set piece and which one's the effect.
Oh no, sorry, that was my effect.
So the hospital scene,
And what was your set piece of the series, Megan?
Oh, I think it's the Jane song when they all start singing the song for Jane. So without giving anything away, he re-lands on. They revisit a place, and he's a bit concerned because he's been there before, and somewhere in between the last 10-15 years since he was there the last time, he's become their local hero, and he's got songs praising him to the
and a statue.
He's got a mud statue. So that it's that.
Yeah. I haven't really got a set piece. Performance of the series.
Go on. For me, it's Mal. He's the leader. He is the kind-hearted. He's my favourite character. He led it all, and he was brilliant. His comedy, his humour, and he just got more handsome as the series went on. The more I fell in love with the series, the more I started to really fall in love with him. I was like, I really like you.
Yeah, he's got the right level of morals, hasn't he? On the right, bit of a Robin Hood character.
Yeah, he's good.
How about you, Megan?
I actually, River, I think is one of my favourite characters, and I think the way she flips it and can just be completely off with the fairies and then really hone in with some
That's easily done, Megan. We could do that easily. You know. That's not.
I love
that's
it.
not
I've
great
always
acting.
found it really, I think that's part of what you miss out on that season 2, season 3 is watching her arc. But I love her as a character.
It's interesting. She's a ballerina. Has been a ballerina all her life, and in most things that she does, her sort of her signature, if you like, the actress is to be barefoot. And to try and get a bit of her dance into somewhere.
You go, you see.
And she was so pleased that River could be a barefoot.
That in Jamestown that she did her dancing.
She did her dance there.
Also, if you watch the film, I think you see some of her balletic movements really come into force.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think as a character, she's such a disruptor that would have been excellent in future episodes to just throw a complete spanner it as a protagonist to really lever a situation into something chaotic.
I wanted her character to show me more. I was so waiting, for so long throughout many of the episodes. We're aware that she has a genius of some sort, and we are aware that she can tell a little bit of the future, or who's come. 2 hands on their way, 2 blue hands.
Blue hands.
Also, but I wanted to see more of that. I was waiting for that to develop and come forth, and it was a shame that we didn't.
You have to remember
get all the story.
You have to remember that series back in 2001 were nearly always 23 episodes, 23 episodes long. So,
like 24 was there at the time.
Buffy, Angel, all that kind of stuff. So they had to have a certain amount of filler episodes before you could get onto those River episodes. And I think, again, we would have seen more if we'd seen more. For me, it's Inara. I thought she was great, fascinating to watch and brilliant performance. Any suspension of disbelief, the stupid factor, I'm just going to say.
Well, it's all silly and fun.
Well, I just thought the way that basically the engine of the ship was just a load of junk, wasn't it?
I mean, you could just imagine them sort of like, using a pair of tights to tie the carburetor together, kind of thing. But I think that's what makes it. Keeping it running with.
Sticky back plastic. I did wonder what their aim was in life, what they wanted to do, apart from just keeping their head low, so to evade
keep it out of the way of control, really.
Smuggling and stuff. Yeah, it was like there was no kind of other hopes and dreams.
I wonder again, and they didn't follow this up in the film, but I wonder if we had more series, we'd have seen a rise of the resistance against the Alliance, really.
Sure. The brown coats.
Yeah,
brown coats would have
that was something that they just couldn't cover in that, but I think that's where it would have gone. Okay, so resuscitation factor, I think it's a clear yes, isn't it? That
totally.
Because they did, the film is very good. As a film itself, it stands up.
I saw an article that was actually written this year where there's still a big push for it to be resurrected without Joss Whedon, and you kind of it's so difficult because he certainly in those days he had an absolute golden touch on what he produced that's very problematic now the way he did it, but you kind of like, I don't know if you could resurrect it without him, so I
think the only way you could do it 20 years down the line now
it'll be J.J. Abrams
is to create a new series in that world with maybe a similar theme or something, really. But again, to give the film its due, it did kind of wrap up a lot of the things, really. So I really don't feel the urge now to watch anything else. All right, shall we score it, because we've been talking for a long time?
Sure.
All right, so Megan, we're going to end with you every time, seeing as though it's your show. I'll kick us off. So storyline and plot, I give it a big fat 9 because I really enjoyed it.
I give it an 8.
Okay, 9.
Okay,
characterization and performances, I give it a 7. There were some people that annoy me, and but on the whole, I liked it.
I give it an 8.
I give it an 8.
Ooh. Style, again, like more or less a style. I did get a bit bored of the Wild West thing, but 7 from me.
8.
It's a 9 from me.
Okay. Originality, 8.
8.
9.
And absorption factor, it gets a 9 from me. I got more and more into it as it went along.
8.
10.
Right. So
I got full on 8 scores for those.
So I give it a score of 40.
40.
45, but we got to double it. So
I'm
90.
Hold on, what was you? Oh, yeah, sorry. So 80 from me, 80 from Deborah.
90 from me.
Oh,
it's punchy. It's punchy.
Okay, and that gives us an overall total of good score, 83.3. Okay, so it puts it in second place, just below To Sin, but above The Terror. So I think that's quite well.
Do you know, it scores 9 out of 10 on IMDb, which I think is a pretty epic score for
IMDb.
Watch your mouth out, Megan. It's got too many letters, that one. All right, shall we finish off our quiz?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And are we cutting back for those people that want to continue listening to talk about sci-fi nostalgia?
I thought we could talk a bit about sci-fi, or we could talk about maybe some Christmas things we like. It's up to you guys, really. I know we've all planned for it, but we can decide that. It'll be a surprise. So tune in after our credits to find out which one we go with. All right, so far, I can tell you the scores are Megan, you're on 2. Deborah, you're on 1. Okay, on to play 4. 5 more. Number 6. Try looking back more on days that were slower, when living came easy and neighbours were friends.
Oh.
Paddle wheels turning as kids on the river.
Huckleberry, Deborah.
Yeah.
It's Huckleberry Finn and his friends.
Try looking back more on days that were slower, when living came easy and neighbors were friends.
Yeah, Tale of Huckleberry Finn. The Tale of Huckleberry Finn. Well done.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 7. The more the world is changing, the more it stays the same. Life is full of small surprises. It's a never-ending game. If nothing is impossible, will you believe your eyes? If the unexpected brings a smile, that's a big surprise. Surprise,
Deborah!
Surprise.
Cilla Black, surprise, surprise.
The more the world is changing, the more it stays the same. Life is full of small surprises. It's a never-ending game. If nothing is impossible, will you believe your eyes? If the unexpected brings a smile, that's a big surprise, surprise, surprise.
Very good.
The more the world. I was with you, but I just couldn't. I wasn't.
Me too. I was there-ish.
All right.
That's a surprise.
This is a tough one. Well, I think it's a tough one, isn't it? No one to talk to. I got no telephone. And at night I wake up, I just lie and stare. Come on and save me from this nightmare. Hi-ho, Silver. Here comes the Lone Ranger.
Boone.
Sometimes I sit, feeling alone. No one to talk to, I got no telephone. And at night I wake up, I just lie and stare.
Boone!
Oh, Silver. You've just reminded me of something about Cilla Black I need to send you to.
All right, okay. It's intriguing. Right, okay. Number 9. We're going to make it. Give us any chance, we'll take it. Read us any rule, we'll break it. We're going to make our dreams come true. Doing it our way.
Deborah! That's Chachi and...
No, I'm afraid
Doing
not.
it our way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not Chachi. It's not Chachi Loves Jodie. You're close. It was...
Oh, Deborah! Mork and Mindy. No?
All the spin-offs. Did you know about all these spin-offs from Happy Days, Megan?
Megan, is it Happy Days itself?
No, it's Laverne and Shirley.
Oh, yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, Schlemiel, Schlemazel, Houses Incorporated. We're gonna do it. Give us any chance, we'll take it. Read us any rule, we'll break it. We're gonna make our dreams come true. Doing it our way.
Here we go. It's cold outside. There's no
Megan, Red Dwarf.
is the right answer. Oh, well done. Deborah, she just picked you, I'm afraid, Megan. 4 points to 3. Well done. Indeed.
Nice. Nice.
Right. Well, I suppose that all it leaves us to say is Merry, Merry, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
And, yeah, join us after the break if you want a bit more.
Yeah, man.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Cheerio.
All right. Okay. But I have to say that your farewells are awful, girls.
Bye.
Oh, we're not really teed up very well. I didn't realise that's what we were doing.
Well, say goodbye at the end of the episode.
Well, I find it really weird that we say
What do you want
goodbye
us
and
to
then
say?
we carry on chatting.
What do you want us to say?
Well, it is weird. Yeah,
What do
all right.
the others say that obviously floats your
Okay, I
boat?
might send you a list of 10 excellent goodbyes. Well, some people have catchphrases. So my a podcast I love, the Blue Box. He has a podcast. He says something like, "We'll speak again soon." And he said something else, but I can't remember. I'm on the spot now. I'm not. But I
Do
think
we
you
need
need
to
to
be
put
saying
more.
something like
So
stay
say
safe or
goodbye
happy
for-
viewing?
Yeah, it's goodbye from her, and it's goodbye from her, and it's goodbye from me.
Well, just put more effort in, I guess. Right, Christmas or sci-fi? What do you want to talk about? Come on, let's-
Sci-fi.
All right, let's do sci-fi. So I think we get to choose one each then. And I'm going to choose American sci-fi just to keep it for me. Because I'm a big Doctor Who fan. I'm going to talk about that for hours.
Does it have to be of a certain? Is it just this is just nostalgia stuff?
I think just one that you particularly like. I just want to talk about something again that I never really got. I'm thinking about Deborah's cult status. For me, this never got to answer any of the questions. I think at the time, I think it was set in the 50s or the 60s, probably the 60s. It was when they didn't have story arcs. And the mystery just continued. And I don't know if they wrapped it up, but if they did, I certainly didn't see the last episode. And it was The Invaders.
The Invaders.
I don't know if you remember, it used to be on BBC Two. And the premise was there was this reporter who basically had seen an alien spaceship fly towards the land, and so he knew about these invaders. They'd infiltrated our society, and they looked like us. But as you killed them, after when they landed on the floor, their bodies would glow red, and all that would be left is ash. So there was never any evidence of these invaders. And it scared the hell out of me, and I was a massive fan. And he was obviously always on the run as well. You're both looking very vacant. You never seen that?
No, I didn't see it.
No, I didn't see it.
Invaders.
Yeah, no.
Oh, it's great.
And it terrified the hell out of you.
Yeah, because it was on. I think they put it on like 6 o'clock on BBC Two. I used to watch it when I was like 6, 7, 8 o'clock, that sort of thing. I was 6, 7, 8 years old, and it was just. It was in that time of the Cold War as well, so nobody trusted anybody.
Yeah,
And, it's that whole thing all the time. And each episode, very much like The Incredible Hulk or The Littlest Hobo, I guess, he'd turn up in a new town. There'd be a problem that he kind of uncovered, solved. He always seemed to end up in like a gasworks or an industrial thing where he was like turning off some machine or stopping things from blowing up or something. But, no, I was a big fan.
Oh, the dog's just been sick.
Oh, no. Okay. Deborah, what about yours? What's your choice?
Well, I've got a whole list of them, but I loved Fringe, as you know.
Yeah, so come on. Why did you like? You got me into Fringe.
I think I need to revisit Fringe, even though it's 780 seasons worth of but it's just brilliant, and you are again. It's all character driven, lots of self-contained episodes. The romance that goes on between Olivia.
Do you know what? I'm really pleased now that we live in a time. I think they've made a really good decision, whoever makes these TV programs, to like make seasons 10 episodes, 11 episodes long. Because if I went back to watch Fringe, I think I'd struggle watching all those filler episodes. You know, I might even, I might just stick to the core ones, but you don't want to miss things. And when they just compress it now into like 11 hours, it's so much more manageable and so easy,
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
What were your things about Fringe that you like so much?
Oh,
I love the aliens from the future, or the people from the future. So.
Yeah, I mean, all of that. Because it's kind of like the X-Files, but not. So lots of different. It's
more satisfying because it gave you answers. The X-File never told you anything.
That's right. Yeah. So this is like a police government type. A Fringe. Group that are very underfunded, and they just deal with the weird and the wonderful that come along. So it could be anything from a weird bacteria that could do something like explode buildings to aliens from outer space to time travel. And I think it's just brilliant.
When was sort of like season 1? When was that made?
I'd say about 2008. I guess maybe a bit earlier.
Fringe. I mean, it went on for what? 5 episodes?
7,
Fringe.
I bet. There's quite a few seasons. Are you looking it up?
Yeah. So there are 5 seasons, and you're absolutely correct. 2008. Not the guy from the OC. The one that's Joshua Jackson, and also the guy that plays his dad is also
Joshua Jackson.
Oh yeah, the guy from Pacey, Gwen, Dawson's Creek.
Yeah, Dawson's Creek.
Yeah, not the OC, sorry, Dawson's Creek.
Yeah.
Beg your pardons.
With the serious face. Got a very serious face.
It's just really good. And it's
sorry, Deborah, Megan, did you just hold your dog up to the camera?
Can I hold her up?
No, did you just hold your dog up to the camera?
No, she just tried to stand on.
Oh, it looked like she was like a glove puppet. Sorry, Deborah, go on.
No, this show was also cancelled because of falling ratings and expensive production, it says here, but it did close everything off neatly.
Good stuff. All right, what about you, Megan?
So as a kid, right, I'm going way back to when I was a kid. Did you ever watch a TV program? Oh, can you hear me? My sound is doing really weird.
No, it sounds fine.
Sorry, the dog keeps sort of like sitting on wires. There was a TV program when we were kids called Chucky.
Yeah, Chucky.
And then Chucky's
what?
Chucky's what? Chucky's in the system.
She cut out. Chucky's.
I cut out. Chucky's children.
Chucky's children.
I don't remember Chucky's children.
There was follow-ons, yeah, and I can just remember just being like, I wouldn't other than the fact that it was this sort of like electric bluey fuzzy thing that just sort of like appeared and hovered like an alien.
Written by John Wyndham, I think.
It was, but it just really
1984
kind of struck a nerve. Is it that? See, I would have thought I was possibly a little bit younger when I watched
it. It's the same here.
Yeah. It's funny though. I mean, it's still young. Not to be confused by Chock-a-Block, obviously.
No.
Or Chuckle Brothers.
Chucky's Challenge.
Yeah,
Chucky's Children.
Yes. So there were multiple seasons, and I just remember being absolutely fascinated by it. And
what was the premise?
It was quite scary.
It was dubbed, wasn't it? Was it dubbed?
No, I think it was. I don't
I
know.
think it's the other way around, maybe in Czechoslovakia or something.
It would probably been dubbed for the Czechoslovakians. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a British production, from what I can recall.
So what? It wasn't the Chucky this like alien that took people over, or it's a voice in someone's head or something.
It was a voice in this little boy's head.
The picture looks like it's an avocado.
But it would just be this sort of like electrical light would shimmer, and then you'd hear this voice resonating, and it was quite sinister.
Yes.
But it wasn't like he wasn't trying to. I think he was using this little.
Well,
you've cut out, Megs.
Chucky's in the system, obviously. She's still talking away.
Oh no, we can't hear you.
We can't hear you. I think she's unplugged us. Still can't hear you.
Still can't hear you. Oh, she's got a sad face.
Oh,
you're back.
What happened? All right, so God, say what you were saying.
Yeah, so it's what it was. I mean, it is literally. I haven't rewatched it since I would have been since it was aired that first time, and then there would have been a couple of follow-up series, but it just completely gripped me and concerned me, and it was very, it got some good tension going for apparently an 11-year-old.
Can I suggest that you let it live on in your memory? And maybe don't go read and revisit.
Oh no, you couldn't.
All those kind of feelings, I think they'll all be saturated away really by the reality of the cheap blue CSO.
There's a book I read when I was 13 years old, and it's made me want to go to Peru, which I still have not managed to do.
Is it Paddington Bear?
No, it's Night of the Scorpion. I think it's by Sean Horowitz,
right.
And I made the mistake of tracking down a second-hand copy of the book and starting to try and read it, I would say, in the last few years.
Right.
And it was a very big mistake. And so I stopped reading it immediately and have let it live on in my memory.
Well done. That's a sensible option.
So this is the problem of being a parent, because we have all these wonderful, amazing memories of things that we loved watching as a kid, and then we want to revisit them with our kids because we thought they were so wonderful. So I have to, in some ways, revisit quite a lot of TV programs and films.
The problem, and I agree with that as well, especially ones that kind of lived on with us. But it's quite hard. What the children don't have is our kind of experience up to the point of watching that, and our maybe limited experience of the rest of the world. I mean, I know, like your daughter, I mean, she loved Paw Patrol for a while, and but the amount of stuff she's exposed to, and then possibly showing her something that we watched.
Oh, honestly, I mean,
the flumps. I love the flumps, but
it doesn't stack up for rewatching.
Yeah, or clangers. I because they've redone the clangers, and she's not that interested. But I sat and watched Alien with Roman, who's 11, and honestly, we all thought Alien was the bee's knees, right? The most tense. The most tense film you could ever watch. It was so big at the time and psychologically demanding as well, and blah, blah, blah. And of course, he's sat there and he's obviously been exposed to every meme, every kind of YouTube kind of representation of these sorts of things, because it's moved on, time has moved on, and they've regurgitated this sort of stuff. But what happened was the moment of when Alien comes out of the stomach and then runs and goes runs off. He laughed. He laughed out loud because he felt it looked like like a little spitting image puppet going.
But I think it does. But I think as well the problem is
he laughed.
If it's about association with that world. So like if you think about us watching, I don't know, the original Great Expectations, or maybe a Western or something from the 50s.
Yeah,
our 70s and 80s world, there was no link to that. So you were so removed when you're watching it, you're not absorbed into it. Whereas if they remade Alien,
I don't know. I don't think that's right.
Well,
I don't think that's right because
I've got 4 pencils. It's an
we
important
were
ixue.
We were exposed to those. We were exposed to those old Hallmark movies, and
but we wouldn't have been scared by them. We weren't pulled in and scared by them because I know that we had a connectivity. Whereas we can see, even though aliens set in the future, those people sitting around the dinner table are basically a load of 7 people in the 70s sitting around eating. So we know what that was like. We could be in the room with them. Whereas I don't think if, someone watching something that's 40 years old, you can imagine yourself being there. And surely that's how you get scared.
No, because E.T. is a bunch of 80s kids sitting around a dinner table and everyone, kids still love it now.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Well, there's obviously something to it because it was very scary.
I think it's just an exposure to this kind of what we thought was fearful, I don't know, horror.
But I think also
different for them. Horror is different for them now.
Things were much more original that time round. It was much more original, so it's very difficult to go back. A bit like with Firefly,
it's regurgitated. Yeah,
try and work out how original it was when it was done 20 years ago. There's a lot of things that have got similar.
Yeah.
They're derivative.
Yeah,
but we can do.
I think we could just do it with Firefly because it's kind of well within our living memory, so we can remember more or less what was the landscape back then. It was. We've gone through a revolution already, haven't we, with TV? The way people sit and watch TV now is completely different. The way people can get television is completely different. You can basically think of anything in your head now, and I could be watching it in 5 minutes. Whereas, that back then, if we wanted something, we'd have to hunt for it, or we'd have to find it, or we'd have to, eBay wasn't even around really. So, purchasing these things weren't easy. Whereas now everything's...
It wasn't around really. No. I mean, I think I had Firefly on VHS.
Yeah, well, almost definitely you would. Yeah. I bought every Doctor Who episode on VHS. Well, there's about 150 stories back then before the new series came out, and then I basically bought every single one on DVD. And I spent Doctor Who fans are so stupid. Spent thousands on it, and now you can just watch it all on BritBox like for over a month if you want to. So why did I bother?
Yeah.
Anyway, look, I've got Christmas decorations to take down. So
we have been talking till after Christmas, haven't we?
Well, I wondered where that was going.
A little thing. If anyone likes listening to stuff, Melvin Bragg does a show called In Our Time, and they do a brilliant episode this week about A Christmas Carol, just talking about it. Just hearing it. I mean,
I went to the Old Vic to watch Stephen Mangan do A Christmas Carol. Not last weekend, the weekend before, and it was magnificent.
I saw the same production a couple of years ago with a different actor, which is
we see it every year because we get it for free with work, because my work is a partner to the Old Vic, so nice. I get to take the family every year. But last year it was all on Zoom because we couldn't. But the year before, you had Patterson Joseph, you had the guy from The Walking Dead, Egg, Andrew Lincoln.
Oh, Egg,
and Stephen Tompkinson. But Stephen Mangan outshone all of the previous Scrooges. He was magnificent. And I swear to God, we cried our eyes out. It was so joyful, being in the theatre again, joyful seeing them being joyful on stage. But the whole story of it, and the Tiny Tim and all of it.
Don't spoil it.
Songs, the music. Honestly, crying. We were crying our eyes out, bawling.
Well, there's only one version for me, and that is The Muppet Christmas Carol, which is incredibly faithful to the original book, I have to say.
I've bought the DVD to go in their Christmas Eve box.
They won't like it because it's our thing, not theirs. Oh, look, that's a bell. That means we're out of time.
Okay.
All right, Merry Christmas, girls.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
And let's say goodbye to our listeners properly.
Goodbye, listeners, properly.
See you later. Hey, James here, just to let you know that we'll be back in January to talk about all the things we watched over Christmas. Have a great Christmas and a happy, happy, happy New Year. Bye-bye.
It's in the singing of a street corner choir. It's going home and getting warm by the fire. It's true wherever you find love. It feels like Christmas. A cup of kindness that we share with another. A sweet reunion with a friend or a brother. In all the places you find love, it feels like Christmas.